sheep before they make a peep. They night the banks and ain't no money. Call it fucking blight. I'm growing bright. Stardom of a kingdom to reap them of they rose. Kill, steal, and steal her margin. I ain't real my woes.
I mean, we kind of went in depth on our love for the PS2 era and some of the memories that we have associated with that era. But I feel personally that what followed with the PS3 era, the only team that got it right was Nintendo during that following era. They're the only ones that got it right. And they won that generation hands down, in my opinion, clearly. I feel as though that the preceding era for the PS2, Xbox, GameCube was so much better than what came after it that era was kind of a disappointment, man. I want to know how y'all feel about that.
Okay, so let me get this right. So you're saying that like you're saying that the Wii was the only one that got that right, and the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era was kind of like a miss?
I think so, yeah. I think they tried to lean too far into the mass marketing and gaming as a business and kind of got away from what it was that made their fan base fans.
Okay.
It became about the dollar. The biggest, okay, and not to interrupt you, but I think the one situation that puts that entire era of gaming to me that represents it was Street Fighter X Tekken.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I say that, and that's the response, man. Like that was the game for me that defined that era of gaming and what it was and where they failed us at. You know, before I get into that, I just want to know like how y'all felt. How y'all feel about me making that statement? What are your thoughts on that era of gaming?
I can agree with you on certain aspects because I felt like they were getting their feet wet. And the problem was Xbox was upset that they didn't get the Xbox right. So they're like, we're gonna get the 360 right. And then the Ring of Death came about, and then hardware, et cetera, pushing forward. Things didn't really start right because it was started out as a price war. So it was about the dollar. And then once people finally had the console, they weren't making money. So then they were like, well, we need to really like push out games to lure in customers. So like it was that actiony Jason Bourne film like era, like hey, like yeah, we're just gonna do fucking sequels. But it got better towards the end.
Okay.
For me personally, for that PS3, 360, Nintendo Wii era, you definitely have some validation towards that statement. When the Nintendo Wii was first announced as the Nintendo Revolution back in the day, and that pre E3 hype came up, and it was literally everyone, the darling, the little darling that could, man. It was literally the Nintendo Revolution turned into the Nintendo Wii, and with the Wii bowling and the gameplay mechanics and the Wiimote, that thing sold like hotcakes. That was like the Tickle Me Elmo of Christmas, and the Super Smash Brothers Brawl, Mario Kart. I mean, all these titles, all the Nintendo classic titles that were on that console. And I think the one thing that eventually hurt it a little bit in the end was that it didn't have there was no games on it that wasn't made by Nintendo that was solid. And
Okay.
I think that eventually the novelty of the controller and the games, I mean the Wii bowling, all that shit was so much fun. The Mario Party, all that shit was fun. And I think just near the end, it was just like until Nintendo comes out with a game, there's nothing to play in between. And I know the Nintendo Wii fans, the fanboys might be like, oh, well, there was this and this and that. And, let me know in the comment section if I'm missing a couple titles. But I think you are right with the PS3 and the 360 because from a game point of view, there really wasn't that next step that was mind blowing like we got on the previous generations. I think everything really started the whole mainstream success, online gameplay, big, muscly, over masculine character models, gun shooting, cigar smoking, you know,
Man,
big boobs, tiny waist, flowing hair, uh,
the
freaking Master Chief on your Mountain Dew, level
go
up
ahead, go
on your
ahead, keep
bag of
going.
Doritos and Cheetos. Y'all remember them shits? Like,
Oh,
the Halo
Dorito.
3. Oh, the
Yep.
Halo 3 launch with the marketing on that and just yeah, yeah.
That was the Dorito Mountain Dew era of gaming.
The
yeah,
Dorito. Yeah, man.
the
And it
fucking
yep,
era of
that's what it
season.
was. And
Like,
it was the rise. It was the rise of the GameStop pre-order exclusives.
oh yeah,
Ooh.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Damn, dog. You're right. You're right on that shit. And if you want to look at it like that, it was the start of this whole DLC content. Start releasing games that aren't finished and patch them up later.
Yeah.
Giving you
Uh-huh.
half finished games and then, hey, here's DLC season 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, this would have been included in the game years ago. And now I'm paying extra for it. So I mean, you are kind of. I definitely see the point of what you're saying. This era was a little bit, just a little bit off because I bought a PS3 initially. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I'm all right. I'm all set. I'm gonna pay $600. Sony was on their shit. Like
Shit.
they were like fucking Donald Trump man with fucking PS3 man. They were like, you gonna pay for this shit, and it was
For
like,
two
god
gigs.
damn man.
For 2 gigs.
That big ass box.
For two
Yeah,
gigs.
the PS3 was underwhelming, and Sony's bravado was really overwhelming. They really just thought, "Hey, we got this shit." I mean, yeah, they were the top dogs on the block, the big bad boys, and they really felt like, "Yeah, we got this shit in the bag. No one's gonna fuck with us." And for
Well,
good reason, because PS2
yeah.
had that track record. It was that icon of gaming. And so with this PS3 having with $600, $800 backwards compatibility problems and what I'm saying, all this other shit, and that shit was just honestly a entertainment center for me. Like I spend more
Right.
time surfing the web and being on whatever net watching videos and Blu-rays on it. For a lot of people,
Right.
it was just a glorious Blu-ray player for a lot of
So
people for that
so
console.
my question for you real quick is did you have so you had the G1 PS3 that actually was backwards compatible.
Nah, man, I think I got the 40 gig one. I
Okay.
got a version after that.
Okay, my bad. It was 20 gigs and then the 40. Because remember, the first, the G1 of the PS3 was backwards compatible. And then the one that came out after that was no longer backwards compatible. Yeah, man, that was the Dorito Mountain Dew era, GameStop pre-order, Taco Bell sweepstakes. That was that era. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just think about all the shit that happened during that era of gaming, bro. It got off on a bad start. The Xbox 360 came out a year before. Yeah, that came out in 2006, and then the PS3 came out in 2007. The Xbox 360 kicked shit off to a bad start with the red ring of death. That set everything off on a bad tone to begin with. But what cannot go unnoticed is that during that era, during that console generation, Sony got hacked, bro. Y'all remember that?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh yeah.
Like, that was a big fucking deal when Sony got hacked. That made them motherfuckers look bad. Like, they was out in the streets. All they shit was out in the streets, bro.
Yeah, because previously, if you think about it, in the PlayStation 2, like they were the bullies. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
So then Xbox dropped, and they came out with like that low ass price tag in the PlayStation 3. You know what I'm saying? They was like, yeah, pay all this money for this big ass box,
Price of the brick going up.
and the games went up, and it pretty much like they were pretty much just trying to get people to just have the PlayStation 3, and they were trying to sell game to us that were gonna come out later or that were
Yep.
unfinished, like you said, D.
Right.
Like yeah, here's the DLC that we're gonna, him on. Like the game's almost done.
Oh, and not to mention, did you get your Burger King Xbox 360 games with the Burger King mini games on every single disc? Did you collect
Hey,
them all? You got
oh
them
my
all?
god. Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Like, yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
there's a total shift in that conversation we had before, and the tone and what we're saying now. Like, it didn't seem fun anymore, bro. Like, they really hit us over the head with a $600 price tag there.
Yep.
Like, prime example, the PS2 was a great gaming console that just so happened to be able to play DVDs on it. You know,
Mhm.
being able to watch a DVD on your PlayStation 2 was like an added cherry on top of it just being a great hardware gaming console.
Yeah.
Sony sold us the PlayStation 3 as an entertainment system that you could play video games on, in my opinion. Initially, at least, at the beginning, when they first put it out.
I
Yeah,
agree.
because they also had the Vita.
So, and like you were saying, Donovan. I mean, like, I feel like that whole it just felt something about it felt off. You know, you had all these games that were coming out that looked with the brown drab background with no color, and every game had to be rated M for mature, and you had all of these one note type of characters that really you couldn't really invest nothing in. Like, it didn't really feel like fun. It felt like the wrong people were in charge of making decisions at that point in time because there was so much money on the line. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
oh, no, dude, you're perfectly correct in that because at the time of PS3 trying to counteract 360, they made Resistance Fall of Man and they made Killzone 2. You know, and they made these other games that were dark, dreary, brown color palette, dark dystopian futures FPSs to counter the Halos and the Gears of War and all this other shit. So I mean, you're right on that, man, because like we said, Fallout was getting big, really, with Fallout 3 and all these other shit that was, really it was just that those colorful, unique, different gaming experiences where Splinter Cell felt different than Metal Gear Solid. That went away with this generation where every single thing was starting to feel the same. How many FPSs was on the 360? How many of them tried to imitate Halo? How many of them was the same goddamn game, sci-fi shooter? I don't care what spin you put on it. It was the same fucking game every single time, and that shit got old. The game library on the 360 was, for the most part, it was like this edge lord '90s comics of gaming, dude. I'm not even bullshit on that, man. If you think of the big pouches, the cable, the edge lords, I mean, that was the gaming era, bro. The
Oh man,
Bro,
yeah, bro, yeah. Talk about it.
you either had like zombies or the same fucking alien shooting story, like you said, with like Killzone and fucking Resistance and that
Pace.
Gears of War. Yep. Or you had a fucking like, the mysterious PI or the lone, spy shooter fucking, but they were all pretty much like shooting adventure games around that time. Like,
right. And for the big franchises, how many of them really properly transitioned to the next gen? Final Fantasy did not properly transfer to the next gen.
Nope.
Kingdom Hearts completely skipped this generation. Halo was Halo. I mean, and
Hmm.
Halo, kept doing Halo numbers. Well, I mean, what do you think about Grand Theft Auto? Did Grand Theft Auto, in your opinion, properly transfer over to the PS3 and the 360?
Mm,
I
see,
do we
yeah. Go
really
ahead, Clay.
remember Nico though? Like honestly, honestly.
Mm,
I
yeah.
know, like, Grand Theft Auto 4 was a great game. It was a great game, but I just think Like Rockstar never missed, and Grand Theft Auto 4 was not a miss. They didn't miss the mark with Grand Theft Auto. I'm never gonna say that, but I think Grand Theft Auto 4 was the best of what was offered early on. Is what I'm gonna say.
Okay. Okay.
It
Okay,
was the
fair enough. Fair
it
enough.
was it was the best of what was offered during those early stages where there wasn't much to go back to. But I mean, the DLC that came out for that was better. The Ballad of Gay Tony was the best thing that came out of Grand Theft Auto 4.
I remember that shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was the best thing that came out of Grand Theft Auto 4. That was like Grand Theft Auto Vice City DLC for Grand Theft Auto 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like Mark was saying, I mean, there's more there. Like the most memorable thing about Grand Theft Auto are the jokes that are made about it. Like jokes about going bowling with your cousin are the best thing that came out of Grand Theft Auto 4. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, early on it was bad, man. It was rough early on, honestly.
Yeah. I gotta admit though, I mean, I transitioned from PS3 to 360 and I never regretted it because I was
Mm-hmm.
actually able to have fun on the 360. My PS3 was getting dusty. I played Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. That was the most time I put in my PS3. It was Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection and Assassin's Creed. And that was it. And then other than that, I was like, why do I even have this thing? And Mortal Kombat 2 online. I don't know why. I bought Mortal Kombat 2 and I was, was playing my friends online with that. That was fun. But other than that, my PS3 was collecting dust, and I went to 360, got on Xbox Live, was able to play my friends, and got that Xbox Live experience to where, like you said, I started to transition to only playing online with my friends and really kind of sideline the single player experience. I played Gears of War campaign, but co op. You know what I'm saying? Well, I played
Mm-hmm.
online four player, the 4v4, which was a lot of hella fun. I started playing games like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. Phenomenal games. Played it co op on and then play it, playing it online with certain friends, 1 versus 100. I mean, that was a fun little mini game thing they did, and creating your avatar, and then seeing who's online and playing. I had a lot of fun on my 360. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't regret switching from PS3 to 360 because I was pissed that Sony was not bringing the heat with that console. I wanted Kingdom Hearts 3. I wanted the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted certain games on that console that was not being delivered at all, and they took too long to get that shit going. And I know later on they did develop some games to where it was like, oh, like they finally got it going, but it to me it took way too long, and I moved on to the 360, and then I went back to PS4 after that because I believe PS4 finally delivered on what they were supposed to with the PS3, and Sony
Mm-hmm.
got it right with that one. So I mean that's pretty much my sentiments on that era. And then Nintendo Wii was fun with the family playing in Mario Galaxy and playing Super Smash, and that was the content you would get when you were sick of the gray, dark, glum color palette on the 360 and PS3. You went from colorful hijinks to drab and dreary. So what do you think, Majin? What more thoughts you have on it?
I mean, yeah, you pretty much summarized it because, like, everybody, weirdly, every family had a Wii, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They play with, and then, like, somebody in the household either had a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. Um, I mean, yeah, this was pretty much like that generation that it just didn't really like stick. Like they were trying too hard and they were just really trying to make us like customers. Like, hey, buy this. It's
Yep.
not finished, but fucking buy it.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
that. I mean, I guess the only thing that really came out of like the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, I'd say was like when we had those like now we got like those certain like not classics, exclusives, like only PlayStation exclusive, Xbox exclusives, like that brought that into like a play, like all right, so who's gonna have a better game or a better story, but hands down, yeah, the Xbox 360 was definitely for like the multiplayer experience. But if you weren't playing multiplayer games, you weren't being catered to. Like that wasn't your genre.
I agree with that. The games that stand out for me during that era, there aren't too many of them, but the ones that kind of stuck out to me that I had fun and enjoyed putting my time into. Well, don't get me wrong, I take that back. There were a couple classics that came out of that era, a couple. I'm definitely gonna give a shout out to the BioShock series. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
for sure.
Yeah.
They provided some heavy content during that time with BioShock 1, 2, and BioShock Infinite. I'm gonna give some praise to Mass Effect 2. For me, it goes Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 1, and Mass Effect 3. You know, remember when EA cared? um,
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 was one of those standout games during that era. Metal Gear Solid 4, Kojima held us down during that era. God of War 3.
Trying to think which other ones I can really give any ups to in that one.
The Batman, Arkham City piece.
Yes. That one. I think that was probably my favorite game that came out of that. I said my bad. I said Bioshock did do good, but that yeah, no, Batman probably solidified that. I think that was probably my most played game from that generation.
Yeah, I think DC finally came back and in that generation was like, hey, we can do video games too after being
Oh, okay.
absent from the two era. Oh yeah,
We talking about Batman?
yeah, we're talking about
Mhm.
DC's return on that console generation, how they were
Yeah.
Oh
absent in
yeah,
PS2, GameCube.
yeah, for sure. You know, the Arkham series did some things there. It wasn't all bad, but there's more. They left a lot to be imagined during that time. Like they missed the mark more times than I think they reached it. And yeah, man, I think it's unfortunate because there was a lot of potential that they could have had there. You know, like I was saying, there was games like L.A. Noir that were fun. There was games like there was some standouts in there, but it was just there was so much that you had to swim through and navigate in order to find what appealed to you because it wasn't being marketed to you that way. You were getting the AAA titles marketed to you, even if you didn't want to play them.
Yeah, for sure, man. One of my fondest memories was Street Fighter 4. I really got into the fighting game circuit when I got Street Fighter 4 and just traveling in Virginia, going to as many tournaments as I could to try to, get pro and shit like that. That was a lot of fun on that console series and Virtua Fighter 5 on PS3. That was a lot of
Man,
I enjoyed that game, Virtua Fighter 5, man.
they deserve better.
Yeah.
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 Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3. That was some good fun. Soul Calibur was a miss on this generation. I know they had
Oh yeah.
Darth Vader and Yoda,
Mhm.
but I was like, man, they don't really belong, bro. Like I don't care that Darth Vader's on this version.
Man. And what the
Oh,
fuck happened to Castlevania, bro?
Oh man,
yeah.
so much with that.
What
Uh,
the fuck?
I think a lot of game series struggle to find their identity in this, and then finally was able to recapture something with the next generation. We're like, okay, we're gonna go back on our swim lane and just master the technology to help enhance this classic gameplay. I mean, what the hell happened to Sonic during this
Oh
generation, bro?
shit.
oh
Whoa.
my
Whoa.
oh my god.
Sonic
That,
game on 360 and
oh my god. That was nuts.
Sonic,
self-explanatory.
you talking about Sonic '07, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, any Sonic game during that period, bro, like shits were all ass, man.
Bruh,
All
garbage.
ass,
Garbage.
They sacrificed him,
garbage.
man. They,
Sonic
they
was
did Sonic dirty, bro. They did
Yeah.
him foul.
They tried to give him like a real like action play story and fight, bro. It was garbage.
But that's the same shit we're talking about. They try to make him edgy. They try to make a dark future. They try to make the graphics darker. This is exactly the problems that was going on with the gaming during that time. Like Sonic ain't no fucking dark. Ugh.
That was terrible. And it was the Shadow the Hedgehog.
The Shadow the Hedgehog game with him with a gun.
Come
Was that
on,
on
man.
PlayStation 3?
No, that was
PS2.
PS2. That was PS2.
But
Okay,
at
I was about to
least,
say because like, damn,
yeah.
I feel like.
But at least that was kind of meant. I feel like with the Shadow the Hedgehog joint, that was meant to kind of be like a parody of itself.
Kind of,
Like,
yeah.
I don't think that was meant to be taken like as a serious action type gameplay joint. At least that was how I took it. But they did Sonic dirty, bro.
Okay.
They did him foul.
So we had Shadow was for the 360, wasn't it? They had Sonic Unleashed, which
Shit.
nobody liked the werewolf sections, and normal parts was alright. I mean,
Yeah.
we were thirsting for some good Sonic, man. We were okay with the normal fast level. Sonic Generations, Sonic Free Riders. Yeah, we're getting away here, but yeah, Sonic failed to transition.
Yeah.
Castlevania failed to transition. Crash Bandicoot was on this shit too.
What the fuck, man? That's
Yeah.
all I got to say. And then
Yeah.
again, right back to where we started. Tekken or Street Fighter X Tekken.
Honestly, yeah, that was and Tekken 6 was a mishap. And Tekken 6 did not
Yo.
Tekken 6 didn't deliver, man.
Yeah, Tekken 6 was trash because it was like we were waiting so long for it, and then like it came out and it just wasn't done.
Right. It was, and Tag 2 was decent. Tag 2 was fair enough. It was, we were happy to get Tag 2 back because 6 was so god awful. And then they got it right with 7. I really feel like the PS3 360 era was almost just a buffer. Everything that came out in that era was mastered on Xbox One and mastered on PS4.
That's
Assassin's Creed got so much better. I mean, everything and the best of everything that was on there got remastered and re-released on PS4 and Xbox One. So it was literally just a buffer. I mean, Last of Us got remastered on PS4. I mean, they knew the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like they knew the deal, and that was just a weird buffer ground. And I'm glad PS4 and Xbox was able to turn it around a bit and to get back into the gaming and to pretty much just level up everything that was introduced in that era and bring it to the next level. And hell, even Nintendo Switch, Mario Odyssey, phenomenal. Everything on Nintendo Switch, everything right now is kind of just mastered versions of what came before.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme, bro, it feels like Sony. It feels like they would like for the consumer base to forget about the PS3.
Because it got outsold. It got outsold, I believe, right? 360 of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we smacked both of them in the sales.
So, like, and it's just crazy. We spent almost 2 hours talking about the era of gaming before that and had so much to say about it. But now, like, not only do we have less to say about it, but the things that we're saying aren't even really positive about it, man.
Yeah. I mean, Mortal Kombat versus DC, anyone?
I had that. I had it, but I was disappointed. Disappointed. Very disappointed.
Yeah, they weren't really like honestly, there's no games from the PlayStation 3 that I'd like really would be like, hey, you know what I'm saying, play this. Like if it hasn't already been remastered, like you said, like you mentioned, like it's been remastered for that reason. Like, but if it's a game that was just on there, it's not a good one.
Yeah.
Dog. Oh man. There's so many games I can point to that happened in that era, man. Mass Effect 3.
See,
Hey.
I was on the Dragon Age side.
Okay, I mean, how did that go?
I loved it. I'm a fan. I'm waiting for the next one. They did fuck up though. See, that was the genre they fucked up.
You see, see, I I agree with you. I'm in agreement there, bro. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm see, I'm glad we even got to talk about this because I don't know that that's ever really been touched on that way. Like that era of gaming just wasn't fun, man. It wasn't.
Mm-mm. Nah, it wasn't. It made me want to go join the military and shit.
Oh shit. But
Oh man.
yeah,
But
man.
I mean, look at Resident Evil. Look what happened after Resident Evil 4. And then what we were talking about. What were we talking about, right? That
Oh
transition. We went from
shit.
4 to Resident Evil 5. Chris took steroids. He looking
Yeah.
bigger than freaking Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior with the roids. You know what I'm
Punching
saying?
rocks. He was
Punching rocks and boulders. Then we went to Resident Evil 6, which was basically just an action. That shit was like directed by Brett Ratner. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
my.
mean, Devil May Cry on that. That's all we're gonna say.
Oh shit.
That
Yeah,
Devil
man.
May Cry on that, dude. Capcom like
DMC.
Dark
That's what it
Void,
was called.
huh?
DMC.
DMC. I mean, Dead Rising wasn't too bad. Dead Rising was
You
fun.
right. You right. You right.
Look,
Now,
the best games to summarize like the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 is literally like zombie games.
I think we can wrap it up. I think we'll wrap it up on the PS3 era, man. Unfortunately, we can all agree that it was a disappointment, man. And I think we could kind of wrap that up there.
You know, I'm a diehard PlayStation advocate, but I'm gonna have to say on this generation, the Wii just had it right because everybody had one, but it was definitely the 360 who won this one.
For you listeners out there, let us know what were your favorite 360, PS3, Wii games during this time period. Were you eating Doritos hoping to get that code for a free copy of Halo 3? And did you drink your Mountain Dew beside it? I mean, what were your fondest moments of this era, if you have any? And what were some of the games that we're missing that might have been critical darlings that we have forgotten about? Let us know in the comment section, and we're out.
The renegade sage, about to unleash hate. Number 8, yes, you know I'm about to break you down the hell's gate. See it swell, yo bitch filling up my pail. Got a new bitch, call it jail. It's alright, I'm in the cell. Now I'm getting out my niggas spouting.